We're back live tonight here in Focus. Limpopo Transport MEC Tonny Rachoene has asked Treasury to conduct an analysis on the spending pattern of the province's road agency. He says the entity has an overcommitment to projects amounting to 355 million rands, which could be understated by 216 million rand. 3 members of the agency's board have resigned in the process, leaving it without a quorum. The MEC's acting spokesperson, Witness Tiva, joins us now for more on that. Good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on this evening, Mr. Tiva. Other reports seem to indicate that the board was dissolved, hence no longer cooperating. What's the actual process there? What happened?
No, special greetings to you, Thabo, and to our viewers. Let me first indicate that the fact of the matter here is that the board was no longer cooperating following the resignation by 3 board members, and there was still a vacant position where a director from a representative from the Department of Transport was still to be appointed, and the 3 resignations left the board without forming a quorum. And the issue of the dissolving or disbandment of the board does not suffice, because already the board is not or was not forming any quorum. And also to indicate that when the MEC convened that particular media briefing, he did so to highlight the department's plan to ensure that the province's infrastructure is improved, not only to talk about the roads agency Limpopo. There are other important aspects or service delivery elements in his speech that have been highlighted, but unfortunately, our colleagues in the media space chose to take another angle. But the fact of the matter is that there was no board that was dissolved, but the board did not form any quorum.
But political detractors as well, it's not the media, are saying this was a harsh decision and tantamount to purging along political association.
No, we are not in the space of politics. We're mainly dealing with the provision of service delivery as the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure in the province. And I wouldn't want to drag myself into the political space. The fact of the matter is that the budgetary, we are experiencing budgetary constraints as the department and our roads agency, Limpopo, where according to the reports that they gave us, they overcommitted with about 355 million rand. And about 3 months into the new financial year already, the department transferred around 1 billion to the entity. And the billion that we've transferred is not implementing new projects. You find that it's still dealing with the backlog or the projects or the contracts that were awarded before the financial year. So this basically means that for the next year or 2 years, the entity will not be able to implement new projects unless if we can get additional funding. But where we are, our finances are not looking good.
Well, that is interesting, because the Auditor General report for the agency seems to indicate for 8 consecutive years now, unqualified audit. This is what they say. This signals governance stability, right? While the agency tries to continually improve, and wisdom was accumulated along the way by both the board of directors and management, which became valuable in ensuring service delivery is achieved within the best possible governance requirements. This is a board that has been doing well.
No, what you must know that is that as and when the AG is doing its work, it looks at the handling of finances of the previous financial years. There was an irregular expenditure speaking to the PRMG funding that was used to implement new projects, and that is being discouraged by the Auditor General. So what has been happening in that space through the CFO's office and our department was to make sure that the funds that are allocated for the maintenance of the roads infrastructure are solely used for that purpose, not to implement new projects. Hence, we have seen some sort of improvement, and that's a collective effort of the department's financial, CFO's office, as well as a counterpart from Roads Agency Limpopo. So that particular improvement cannot be only attributed to the management of finances by RAL executive management only, but it also extends to the teamwork that we are having at that administrative level.
Yeah. So what do you make then of the letter of the chairperson saying this allegation of overcommitment is not necessarily true? There is no, in fact, overcommitment.
Actually, that particular statement was not even necessary, because the chairperson of the board has an open line to interact with the shareholder, being the MEC. And when the MEC came into office, he extended or used an open door policy, allowing all its stakeholders, particularly Roads Agency Limpopo, to come and brief him in terms of the work that they've been doing and the end over report. The figures that we're talking about, we're getting them from the report that has been presented to the department and the MEC in particular. So these are figures that are coming from their books, and as we stand, on a daily basis, we're being flooded by requests and protests from communities who are having letters of commitment from Roads Agency Limpopo, promising them that they will construct road. And where we are, we're unable to implement new projects. We are still having backlogs of the previous commitments that were made. So what we are saying is that we are discouraging the entity to continue to promise our people knowingly that they do not have enough funds to implement new projects. And our own analysis also indicates that the protests that we are seeing in some parts of the province are being triggered by the endless designs that are being made by RAL, but they do not appoint or implement the actual construction or upgrading of roads from gravel to tar.
But they're saying there's no overcommitment. It's looking ahead so that you avoid under expenditure. You are not saying that is the amount, but you are planning ahead and maybe adding a little bit to make sure that if things go up in the long term, inflation and so on and so forth, you don't end up in a situation where you have under budgeted.
No. I think what that statement is doing is just they just played around with words. The reality on the ground is that designs are being made, contractors have been appointed, as and when we transfer money into the agency, it is being swallowed by the previous projects. Hence, we are here, we are where we are today. We are unable to implement new projects. Communities are up in arms with the department, demanding services, and some of them, Thabo, are having letters of commitment by Roads Agency Limpopo. And at the departmental level, we are saying we must also find a way of improving in terms of our stakeholder engagement, make our communities to understand. You can actually interact with communities, highlight your successes and challenges without necessarily making false promises that you know that you won't be able to implement.
So there are achievements and there are milestones. I mean, are you disputing that, what they've been able to achieve over the last 5 years compared to the targets that they've set for themselves? Have they underperformed compared to those targets that have been set in the APPs?
Look, reality is that there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in the province. We've got around 13,000 kilometers of gravel roads that needs to be upgraded from gravel to tar. And the Roads Agency Limpopo, together with the Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure, have been hard at work ensuring that we service our communities. We are not saying that RAL was not doing its work. We are saying, can we at least reduce in terms of how we interact with our stakeholders and make promises or overcommit or appoint contractors knowing that we do not have enough budget?
So where we are sitting now, I mean, you are disputing this request that the MEC would have made to the chairperson to say, no, give me space to operate.
No, actually, the MEC never made such a request or issued a directive, and the MEC never had a one-on-one with the board of directors of Roads Agency Limpopo. Fortunately, when he landed in the department, I was part of the management team that welcomed the MEC. He never interacted with the board of directors of Roads Agency Limpopo. The only interaction that we had, it was a meet and greet where they came to our offices. So we just introduced the MEC to the board of directors, and they did not even speak in that particular meeting because that was just a meet and greet. And beyond that, there was no interaction between the MEC Rachoene and the members of the board. So the allegations that are being made there does not hold any water.
When is the fourth board going to be officially appointed?
No, we are currently interacting with the Department of Treasury for them to assist in terms of appointing an interim board while we are starting a process of advertising or appointing board members, new board members.
Yeah. And in the meantime, how is this going to be affecting the functionality of the agency?
No, where we are, it won't really affect the functionality of Roads Agency Limpopo. Remember, there's still the CEO, the Tatana Maluleke, who is having a team of dedicated engineers who are on a daily basis hard at work, ensuring that we service our communities.
Yeah. What is the fundamental difference in what you're saying? You're saying you want to regrade the roads as opposed to tarring or actually tarring the roads. Which one is more useful?
No, reality is that our communities want their roads to be drivable. And most of the roads that we're having in the province, the province of Limpopo, which is a rural province, Thabo, are gravel roads. And we are now taking an approach, hence we've seen Premier Dr. Popirama Tiva together with our MEC launching the Rachoene. This is an initiative which is aimed at ensuring that we use our own fleet, our own yellow machine to ensure that we make the province's roads drivable while we're still interacting with the Infrastructure South Africa as well as the National Treasury to ensure that we get additional funding to enable us to upgrade roads. So without attempting to be technical, there are two aspects of making our roads drivable. One, upgrading from gravel to tar. This is where we're experiencing difficulties in terms of budget availability. And secondly, we can't just throw our hands in the air and say that we do not have money to build new roads while our communities are suffering. So we have opted to use the machinery that we have at our 36 cost centers to ensure that we blade roads as a temporary solution. And we are saying that blading of roads and regraveling is not a replacement for tar roads to our communities. We are asking them to exercise patience with us while we're still trying to get additional funding from Infrastructure South Africa as well as the National Treasury. And we know that there are interactions at that political level to ensure that we unlock this bottleneck.
Witness Tiva, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on, speaking on behalf of the MEC for Transport in Limpopo. Right, let's take a break. We're back in a moment.